The lecture hall was silent except for the hum of machines that kept the air clean. Rows of alien students sat with folded arms, their strange eyes glowing faintly under the dim lights. They were gathered not for entertainment, but for a lesson. A massive screen covered the front wall, waiting to show them something they were certain would be amusing. Humanity, after all, was considered weak by the galaxy. One of the students leaned toward another and whispered. His words carried scorn. The humans banned themselves from war after their first defeat. Cowards. They should not even be mentioned in history. The class chuckled, and their teacher, a tall alien with ridged skin, allowed the laughter to settle. The alien students believed this was just another record of failure. None of them expected fear to follow. The lights dimmed, and the screen flickered to life. At first, there was only static. Then came the image of Earth, a pale blue world floating. Quietly in space, a narrator's voice spoke, calm and steady. This is the record of the human ban and the reasons behind it. The alien students leaned forward, smirking, waiting to laugh again. But their smirks froze as the scene shifted. The footage showed the First War. Enormous ships from 3 alien empires descended upon Earth. Their weapons burned through the atmosphere. Their engines roared like storms. Against such power, no species should have survived. Yet the humans had fought back. Crude ships rose from Earth's surface, not sleek like alien craft, but heavy, armored, and built for survival. The aliens laughed again at the sight of them. Metal coffins, one muttered. Then the battle began. The screen filled with light as human ships rammed into alien cruisers. Explosions tore through space. The humans had no advanced shields, no elegant strategies. They simply refused to retreat. A single human pilot screamed through the radio, his ship engulfed in flames. Yet he turned it into a weapon, colliding with a capital ship twice its size. The alien students in the hall grew quiet. Their eyes widened as they realized this was not cowardice. This was madness. That the footage did not end there. The screen showed cities burning on Earth, entire regions destroyed by alien weapons. But still, humans kept fighting. A family sheltered underground, their voices steady as they told their children to remember courage, not fear. Soldiers with wounds across their faces marched forward with broken rifles, refusing to surrender. The teacher of the alien class shifted uncomfortably. He had seen war before, but not like this. One alien student finally spoke, his voice lower than before. Why would they fight when there is no chance? Another replied, though his words carried less pride now. They fight because they do not know how to stop. The footage changed again. It showed the moment the galactic empires finally withdrew. Not because they respected humanity, but because the cost of fighting them had become unbearable. Every city they destroyed only produced more human fighters. Every battle drained resources until the empires realized the war could not be won. Humanity did not win by technology. They won by being impossible to break. The screen faded to black. Then, a single sentence appeared in glowing letters. The human ban was declared, not to protect humans from war, but to protect the galaxy from humans. The alien students sat frozen. None of them laughed now. The silence pressed down like gravity. They had expected weakness, yet they had seen strength that bordered on terror. The teacher cleared his throat, but found no words. For the first time in many years, the arrogance of the students had cracked. They had seen what humanity was capable of when pushed to the edge. One student whispered, his voice trembling, "If they ever return to war, who will stop them?" The footage ended, and the lights of the hall returned. The students sat in their seats, unable to move, as if the shadows of human rage had entered the room with them. They realized the ban was not a punishment. It was a warning, and the warning was not for humans. It was for everyone else. The lecture hall remained heavy with silence. The alien students sat stiff in their seats, trying to act as if they had not been shaken. Their faces betrayed them. those small twitches of unease, nervous flickers of their glowing eyes. The footage still lingered in their minds like smoke after a fire. The teacher finally spoke, his voice lower than before. This concludes the historical archive of humanity's ban. Now you know why they are forbidden from war. He tapped the control panel to shut the screen, but one of the students raised his hand. It was rare for anyone to interrupt a lecture. The student's scales shimmered faintly as he asked, "Teacher, if they are banned then? What if the ban is broken?" The class shifted uncomfortably. No one liked the question, yet every mind had already asked it in silence. The teacher looked around before answering. If the ban were broken, the galaxy would burn again. That is why the Council enforces it so strictly. He wanted his voice to sound certain, but the edge of doubt slipped through. After the lecture, the students filed into the metallic corridors of the academy. Groups whispered to each other, their arrogance gone. A tall alien with horns muttered to his friend, "Did you see how they fought? They did not fight like soldiers. They fought like creatures that refused to die." His friend nodded slowly. "If they ever rise again, our people will not be safe." Rumors spread quickly. By the next cycle, the academy was buzzing with talk of humans. For centuries, the galaxy had treated Earth as a broken world, a place to be mocked or ignored. Now the younger generation was beginning to question the stories told to them. Some called humans reckless monsters. Others called them unbreakable warriors. Both ideas sparked fear. In the central plaza, a group of students gathered. They spoke, louder than the rest, trying to sound braver than they felt. One of them sneered, "It is only old footage. Humans now are nothing. They banned themselves. They hide on their little world." But another replied sharply, "You fool, bans are not given to the weak. They are given to those who are too dangerous." The argument turned heads. Soon the entire plaza was listening. The academy's headmaster noticed the unrest. He was old, his skin hardened like stone, and he had lived through the war. Unlike the students, he had not only seen the footage, he had seen the battle with his own eyes. That night, he stood in his private chamber, staring at a holographic map of the galaxy. His hands trembled as he remembered human ships tearing through his fleet. He whispered to himself, "They are not gone. They are only waiting." Back in the dormitories, some students could not sleep. They lay in their pods, replaying the images in their minds. A human pilot screaming as flames consumed his ship. Children in bunkers speaking of courage instead of fear. Families rebuilding their homes even as the smoke still rose from the ruins. It was not weakness. It was something else, something terrifying. One student finally broke down, whispering to his roommate, "I used to laugh at them. But now, I think we are the ones who should be afraid." His roommate gave no answer. He simply stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. The whispers of fear grew until even the teachers began to notice. Entire lessons were disrupted as students asked more questions about humans. Why were they different? Why had no other species fought like that? And most importantly, what would happen if the ban ever ended? The headmaster made his decision. The following week, he summoned the brightest students into a private hall. They gathered nervously, wondering what punishment awaited them for their endless questions. Instead, the headmaster activated a new archive. The screen lit up, revealing footage the students had never seen before. It was darker, rougher, not meant for ordinary classrooms. It showed secret recordings from the end of the war, alien commanders begging for retreat, entire fleets lost, human survivors crawling out of rubble with weapons in their hands, ready to fight again. The students gasped as the images unfolded. Then came the final scene, a council chamber. Alien leaders stood in silence while a human envoy, scarred and weary, entered the room. His voice was steady as he spoke. "If you force us again, we will not stop. We will fight until the stars are empty." You will not outlast us. The council had listened. They had created the ban not out of pity, but out of fear. The screen faded to black, and the headmaster turned to the students. His voice was hard as stone. Now you understand, humanity is not weak. They are the storm the galaxy cannot survive. The students shivered, realizing the truth. The ban was never mercy. It was a cage. A cage built not to protect humans, but to protect everyone. Else from them and cages, they all knew, could one day break. The academy had changed. What was once a place of arrogance and laughter now carried an edge of silence. The students spoke less in the open halls, and when they did, it was always about the same subject, humans. Their teachers noticed the shift, but none dared to forbid the discussions. The fear had rooted too deeply. One evening, a group of students gathered in the lower levels of the academy where security was thin. They had stolen copies of the forbidden footage shown by the headmaster. The recordings flickered across a small hollow projector, painting their faces with cold light. One of them leaned forward, his voice tense. Do you see? The council did not tell us everything. They said humans lost. But this shows the galaxy lost. Another student slammed his hand against the wall. If they are so dangerous, why not destroy them entirely? His question hung in the air. Everyone knew the answer, though none wanted to say it. To destroy humans would require more than ships and weapons. It would require a will stronger than theirs. And no empire possessed that. As the footage looped again, one student whispered, "The ban is not just law. It is fear carved into every ruler of the galaxy." His words sent chills through the group. They realized they were not only studying history, they were standing inside a warning that had never ended. Meanwhile, the headmaster watched from afar. His personal chamber was linked to the academy's surveillance. He saw the students whisper, argue, and tremble. A part of him wanted to erase the recordings and silence the rumors. Yet another part of him knew the truth could not be hidden forever. Humanity's shadow was too large to bury. Far away, beyond the academy, the council chambers of the galaxy met in secret. The leaders sat in a circle, their faces grim. The topic was the same as always, the humans. A counselor with silver skin slammed her fist onto the table. The footage is spreading. Young minds are asking questions. If they learn too much, they will demand answers we cannot give. Another leader, old and weary, shook his head. We can hide the truth for only so long. Already, whispers of humanity's strength are returning. We should have ended them when we had the chance. His words brought a wave of silence. None spoke, because deep inside, they all knew the same thing. There had been no chance. The humans had made sure of that. Back at the academy, the fear began to change into something else. Curiosity. Some students wondered what humans were like now. Were they still as fierce? Or had centuries of peace softened them? One dared to ask, what if they are even stronger now? His classmates turned pale, realizing that the ban had isolated Earth, but it had not stopped them from advancing. Late that night, a young student named Khalith slipped into the restricted archives. He bypassed the guards with trembling hands, his heart pounding in his chest. He needed answers. He searched through endless files until he found what he was looking for: recent surveillance reports. His eyes widened as he read. The humans had not gone silent. Though forbidden from war, they had built in secret. Their technology was crude no longer. They had grown, innovated, and created weapons hidden beneath layers of peace. Khalith felt his breath catch. The ban had not broken them. It had given them time. Time to prepare. He rushed back to his friends and shared the stolen data. They stared at the holographic displays in stunned silence. Human ships, sharper and deadlier than before, hidden in underground hangars. Human soldiers training in secret, not for war, but for survival. The galaxy thought they had caged humanity. In truth, humanity had been sharpening its claws. Groups sat frozen, unable to speak. Finally, one whispered, "The ban was not just fear, it was mercy. Mercy for us." Another added, voice trembling, "If they return, no empire will survive." The realization spread like fire among the students. They understood the ban in a way no one else had. It was not history. It was prophecy. And somewhere deep within Earth's shadow, the humans were waiting. The academy no longer felt like a place of learning. The halls were filled with whispers, shadows, and tension. Every conversation seemed to circle back to one word: humans. The ridicule that had once defined them was gone. In its place was an unspoken dread. Caliph and his small group of friends had become the center of the storm. After discovering the hidden reports, they carried knowledge that most of the galaxy did not want to face. Each night, they huddled together in secret, staring at holographic images of human ships buried under mountains, of soldiers drilling in silence. One of them finally said aloud what they all feared. The ban is not holding them. It is only delaying what is coming. As the words settled, the group felt the weight of inevitability. For the first time, young aliens, children of proud empires, imagined a future where humanity rose again. And in that vision, they saw themselves not as conquerors, but as prey. The academy's headmaster could feel it as well. His lectures grew shorter, his patience thinner. He saw the way his students looked at him now, as if expecting him to offer comfort that he did not possess. One morning, after another restless night, he finally spoke the truth to his class. "I was there," he said, his voice breaking the silence. "I fought in the war. And I tell you this, you should not pity humans nor laugh at them. You should pray you never stand against them." The words shook the room. Students sat rigid, their eyes wide. Some whispered disbelief, but none dared to laugh. The headmaster's voice carried the weight of memory, and memory did not lie that far away in the council chambers. Tension reached its peak. Reports of unrest among students and scholars were piling up. Entire academies had begun demanding access to the human archives. Fear was spreading faster than control. One counselor leaned forward, her voice sharp. "If whispers spread too far, the ban itself will collapse. We must act." Another answered bitterly, "And what will you do? Silence every young mind? Destroy every archive?" Fear cannot be erased. The chamber fell into uneasy silence. They all knew the danger. The more they tried to bury the truth, the more powerful it became. Back in the academy, Caliph's group decided they could no longer keep the secret. They summoned a small circle of trusted students, showing them the stolen data. At first, the new group scoffed, accusing Caliph of fabricating lies. But when the holograms came alive, showing human fleets hidden on their homeworld, the mockery vanished. Fear replaced it. "Why would they build weapons if they are banned?" one whispered. Caliph's answer was quiet. "Because bans do not stop humans. They only make them prepare harder." The revelation spread like wildfire. By the next week, half the academy had heard fragments of the truth. Rumors twisted into wild stories. Some claimed humans had already built a fleet larger than any empire. Others said they had discovered weapons that could tear planets apart. None of it could be proven, but all of it was believed. The headmaster called Caliph into his office. His old eyes studied the young student carefully. "You have seen too much," the headmaster said. "And you have shared too much. Do you know what this means?" Caliph swallowed hard but nodded. "It means we cannot stop it. The truth is out." The headmaster leaned back, closing his eyes. "Then the galaxy is closer to breaking than I feared." He paused before adding words that chilled Caliph's blood. "If the ban collapses, it will not be the humans who begin the war. It will be us, out of fear." The days that followed felt heavy with inevitability. Patrol ships began circling Earth's region of space more often. Rumors of secret preparations spread among the empires. The students, once carefree, now spoke, in hushed voices about evacuation plans and survival strategies. The galaxy was trembling, not from human attack, but from the thought of one. Caliph walked through the plaza late one night and saw his classmates staring at the stars. One whispered, "Do you think they're watching us right now?" Another replied, "No, they're waiting for us to make the first mistake." The words carried across the plaza like a curse. Everyone knew it was true. The humans didn't need to strike first. The galaxy's fear would do the work for them, and in that fear, the first cracks of war began to appear. The galaxy stood at the edge of panic. Across academies, military bases, and council chambers, the same question was whispered again and again. What if the humans returned? No one laughed anymore. No one dismissed them as weak. The ban, once seen as proof of cowardice, was now seen as a chain locking away a storm too powerful to face. On Earth, the skies remained quiet. The planet looked peaceful to the outside eye, its people rebuilding cities, trading, and living ordinary lives. But beneath the surface, hidden deep under mountains and oceans, vast hangars and secret facilities hummed with activity. Humans had not forgotten the war. They had only gone silent, waiting at the academy. Caliph and his group walked through halls that felt heavier with each passing day. Students who once mocked now avoided speaking at all. Some were afraid to even meet each other's eyes, as if mentioning humans too loudly might summon them. Others began studying the archives obsessively, desperate to understand their enemy before it was too late. The headmaster called for another assembly. His old, scarred face looked more severe than ever. "You have seen the footage. You have felt the truth," he told the gathered students. "Now hear this. Fear spreads faster than war, and fear itself can light the fuse." His words struck hard, but even as he spoke, news from beyond the academy confirmed them. An alien patrol ship, belonging to the core Dominion, had ventured too close to Earth. Reports said the humans had not fired. They had simply activated a single hidden defense satellite. In the span of 3 seconds, the patrol ship's shields collapsed, its systems fried. The humans did not destroy it. They let it drift home, crippled but alive. The message was clear. The galaxy shook. The core Dominion screamed for retaliation. Other empires urged caution, but their voices carried little weight. Whispers grew into rumors, and rumors hardened into fear. The ban was being tested, and the humans had reminded everyone that it was not their weakness holding them back, it was their choice. At the academy, students argued late into the night. One slammed his fist onto the table. "If they can strike us down so easily, then we must strike first. We cannot wait for them to rise." Another shouted back, "Fool! To strike first is to invite our own destruction. We must avoid war at all costs." Caliph listened in silence. He had seen the secret footage. He had read the reports. He knew the truth more clearly than either side. If war came again, no matter who started it, the galaxy would not win. Yet even he could not stop the momentum. Fear had become fuel, and the galaxy was burning with it. The council met once more in secrecy, but their chamber was filled with anger instead of caution. "We cannot let them keep building in silence," one counselor said. "If we do nothing, they will be unstoppable." Another countered, "If we attack, we prove them right. We become the threat they warned us about." The room descended into shouting, each voice louder than the last. None noticed that the choice had already been made, not by logic, but by fear. Back at the academy, the headmaster met Caliph in private. His eyes were weary, but his voice was firm. "You are young, but you must understand this. The ban will not last much longer. The galaxy is too afraid. And when fear rules, war follows." Caliph clenched his fists, his mind racing. "Then humanity will return," he whispered. The headmaster nodded slowly. Yes, and when they do, the galaxy will remember why they were feared. The following day, word spread of another incident. A fleet of alien ships claimed to have intercepted a human transport. Yet when they boarded it, they found no weapons, no soldiers, only civilians carrying food and medicine. Still, the fleet destroyed the transport out of fear. The footage leaked within hours. Billions across the galaxy saw it. And billions felt the same chill run through them. The humans had not attacked. They had not fired. But the galaxy had drawn first blood again, got in the Academy's plaza. Students stared at the massive screens broadcasting the footage. Silence filled the air until one voice broke it. It has begun. The words spread like a shadow. Everyone knew what they meant. The cage had cracked. The storm was coming. The galaxy had crossed the line. The destroyed human transport, filled only with food and medicine, spread across every broadcast system. For the first time in centuries, humanity had been attacked without striking first. Billions watched in silence, waiting to see what would follow. At the Academy, the students filled the Great Hall, their eyes fixed on the central display. The council was meeting an emergency session, their debate broadcast across the stars. Voices clashed in chaos. Some counselors demanded apologies, others called for restraint, but most shouted for action. The humans will retaliate, one screamed. We must strike them before they strike us. The galaxy had never looked more divided or more afraid. Caliph stood among the students, his heart pounding. He remembered the hidden footage, the human fleets waiting underground, the soldiers training in silence. He whispered to himself, "They warned us. They told us what would happen." His words were swallowed by the roar of arguments and panic around him. Then it happened. The council chamber shook as every screen in the galaxy blinked to black. A single symbol appeared, a circle of fire carved into the shape of Earth. Gasps filled the Academy Hall. The humans had overridden every channel. Their silence was over. A figure appeared on the screen. It was a human, scarred and weathered, his eyes burning with steady fire. His voice was calm, yet it carried across the stars like thunder. "We did not seek this," he began. "For centuries we honored the ban, we built in silence. We remembered in silence. But now you have drawn blood again." His gaze hardened. "And so the ban is broken," the hall erupted. Students shouted in disbelief, fear rising like a wave. Some clutched their arms as if bracing for impact. Others stood frozen, unable to breathe. The headmaster closed his eyes. He had lived through this once before, and he knew what came next. Across the galaxy, human ships rose from hidden vaults. Engines roared to life, wings of steel unfolding like predators stretching after centuries of sleep. They were not crude. This time, they were sleek, powerful, and built with the knowledge of every war the galaxy had ever fought against them. Fleets launched into the stars, not in chaos, but in perfect coordination. The first engagement came swiftly. A core Dominion fleet approached Earth, their ships bristling with weapons. The humans did not wait. Their ships cut through the enemy like blades through paper. Alien captains screamed as their vessels burned, unable to understand how humans had advanced so far in silence. Within hours, the fleet was nothing but wreckage drifting in the void. The footage spread instantly, recorded by 1,000 eyes. The galaxy watched as their most feared nightmare returned to life. Humans, once ridiculed, once silenced, now stood in the open again, and they were stronger than ever. At the Academy, students trembled as the battle footage replayed. One voice whispered, "They were supposed to be contained." Another answered, "In despair, no cage can hold them." Caliph clenched his fists. He felt no triumph, only dread. The ban had not protected humanity from war. It had protected everyone else from humanity. And now that protection was gone, the human envoy appeared again, his voice unshaken. "We did not begin this, but we will finish it. Do not mistake our patience for weakness. Do not mistake our silence for surrender. We are humanity. We are the storm you cannot survive. His image vanished, leaving only darkness. The council dissolved into panic. Some screamed for negotiations, others for surrender, but none dared to suggest war any longer. They had seen what war with humans meant, yet they also knew it was too late. The storm had already broken free. In the academy hall, the students sat in silence, their arrogance shattered forever. The younger ones wept quietly. The older ones stared at the floor, unable to meet each other's eyes. Calith turned to his friends, his voice hollow. This is why they made the ban. It was never for humans. It was for us. Outside, in the cold vastness of space, human fleets spread across the stars. They did not conquer planets with words or threats. They let their actions speak, the kind of actions that left galaxies trembling. Worlds that once mocked their name now whispered it like a curse. Humanity had returned to war, and the galaxy remembered.